I was a history major with a minor in elementary ed, and I was going to actually, teach, history, but I just loved music so much that I just got so much into, the high school band and stuff as a kid that I thought, man, that's maybe the route for me to take. And so I learned to play every instrument in the high school band before I graduated. And, of course, my dad and mom thinking that would be what I'd do. And, of course, I didn't get a chance to do that, but I still feel it's real important, for the kids to, to experience as much music as possible, even in their education, Well, man, I've played guitar since I was 3. Yeah. I've played guitar a long time. I got my first guitar when I was 2.5. It was a 1939 J45 Gibson that I still actually have here. And belonged to my granddad. I was actually named after him, and he used to play guitar in the 30s and on the radio and stuff, and 30s and 40s. And he actually died when my dad was 6 months old, and the guitar just it disappeared for a while. Yeah. And my aunt come bringing the guitar one day to my dad, who had trouble playing the radio, so the guitar kind of ended up in my hands, which, as a 3-year-old kid, you'd think they wouldn't really have much, desire to, for an old guitar that was all beat up, Right. But I loved it. I was like Linus with a security blanket, dude. I had to have that guitar with me all the time. Mm-hmm. And so my dad would, tune it to an open E chord, and I got to play kind of like Jeff Healey, flat on my lap with a, walking the bass line with my thumb, that kind of thing.
That's great.
And I did that until I was 10, actually. I did my first TV show at 7, though, and I did a lot of family reunion stuff and played a lot of gigs even before I turned 10. But it's actually funny, too. The first TV show I did, the steel guitar player kept looking over my shoulder to see if I was playing lap steel or if I was playing actual guitar. But I've played guitar Guitar was the first thing I ever really did, honestly, and of course all the other musical instruments just fell into place after that. So, I'll just put it to you this way: I've come from real humble roots in a very, very small town in Maine, and being born with an eye disease called nystagmus. My mom and dad were like, what is this kid gonna do? What's he got to look forward to in his life? And people from the Center for the Blind in each state, they look at you and go, your kid will be able to do anything he wants to do. And my parents are going, mm-hmm. But I was the type of kid where my dad was a motocross racer, so I had my own dirt bikes and I had snowmobiles, and I'd go out there and, go to town on them. But the one thing that was constant in my life every day was the guitar. And I can tell you this, even through school as a young kid, getting called every name in the book, 4 eyes, teacher's pet, all that stuff. And then going through that stage, and then, of course, reaching 16 and being told you can never drive, which to most 16-year-old kids would be just devastating, And for me, I'm just like, well, so be it. And then what do? I go grab my guitar and take my emotions out on it. So really, the guitar's been my best friend all my life. It's, my wife even has a hard time when I talk about it, because I'll say, the guitar is absolutely the, it's my best friend. And she's going, well, I thought I was your best friend, And I'm like, well, you are, baby, but it's different. It's I guess, you try to become one with your instrument, and I really try to live that with my guitar. I try to, it's been so good to me throughout my life. I mean, it's I could never put a guitar down. If I was to, God forbid, lose both arms, I'd have to learn to play with my feet, because I just, there's nothing better in this world for me to do. Matter of fact, I tell people now when I go back home to Maine, there's only 2 things I like to do, and that's fishing and picking. So that's pretty much my life at this point. But I love the guitar, man, in the respect that it's there for you when you want it. It's an emotional outlet for you in many different ways, and it's it's never going to let you down. There's all kinds of things in life that are hard, and there's a lot of ups and downs in life, but the guitar is certainly one of those things that can take you places, in literal sense. Like, obviously I'm living my dreams through, playing guitar, but also, if you just want to get away from all your troubles in life, just sit down with a guitar and, next thing you know, you're grinning, And I tell people, hey, when I'm happy, I play Chet stuff and chicken picking. when I'm sad, hey, I play the blues. When I'm, when I'm disappointed or disgruntled, then, I'm playing some funky stuff. And it's like and people say, man, you play so many different styles of music. And I said, well, that's because, there's many different emotions you go through in life, and you got to have a different style for every emotion. So that's why I love the guitar, man. It's just something that once you devote your life to it, man, it's like I said, it's one of those things that'll never let you down. And it's I'm really proud of that, man. I'll tell you that.
Cool.
Couldn't live without it. Man, Paul Reed Smith just released the new Johnny model. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm just so proud of that guitar. It's everything in a guitar I could ever have asked for. And, and I found that, after getting on stage with Steve Vai and Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen at the G3 show,
right,
I thought, man, I'm missing something. The telly just wasn't, it wasn't really giving me all that I wanted.
Right.
And of course, when I went to Paul, I said, listen, man, I need a guitar that's not just going to rock out because I'm changing styles. I need a guitar that's going to do it all. I said, I see these guys in Nashville doing sessions, and they're bringing 13, 14 guitars with them for a session, which I understand if you want to take a Les Paul in or an old Strat or something like that for that certain tone. But I said, Paul, you just designed a 513, which is an awesome guitar. Pretty much, does everything but burp a baby, as far as Strat tones are concerned. And I said, man, I just really want to build a 24 fret maple neck bolt on maple neck guitar. 24 frets, you can still bend behind the nut on it like a telly. Mm-hmm. But yet, that has some telly sound to it, but yet has a real overwound sound in the pickups, like a real hot, like I used to use Joe Barton's, it was the Danny thing,
Right.
And so, but I wanted to have real hot humbuckers, and I said, man, Paul was into, we'll do six tuners on the top, whatever you want to do. And I said, no, man. I said, I absolutely love your guitar. I played my first Paul Reed Smith in 1996 and just couldn't afford it, Mm-hmm. And but I've always loved how his guitar's played, and so I said, no, I don't want to change the style of your guitar, but he really worked with me hard on designing a guitar that not only you can chicken pick like crazy on it, you can shred, you can do shred metal and get all the harmonics you could possibly want, but yet there's you can split the neck pickup, and you can get some pretty cool jazz tones as well. So I'm just so blown away with that guitar. That's definitely been the guitar that's turned my head and actually re-inspired me to play 8 or 9 hours a day again.